If you're a hockey fan and someone told you that the Islanders will be hosting a playoff game, will be the host of Game 1 against the Penguins in the Isles after losing their first round pick, not the first round pick, but the franchise player, John Tavares, in the offseason, a lot of people would probably say that you're nuts. Look at this team. Since that 2013 meeting, this team is different, the Islanders. Josh Bailey, Thomas Hickey, Matt Martin, Brock Nelson, they remain from the Islanders, while, the core Penguins of guys like Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Chris Letang remain for Pittsburgh. Again, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that would tell you that the Islanders would be a higher seed than the Penguins. Was this done on purpose, on design by the Penguins to kind of just ease in and turn it up once they're in the playoffs? Can they continue their improbable run in the Isles with their league best defense and goaltending? Or will that star power and offense overwhelm them, for their fourth consecutive season with a playoff series win? I think expectation, if you're an Islander fan, after you lost Tavares, even with a new head coach the caliber of a Barry Trotz, a successful season, for the Islanders would have just been, competing for a playoff spot and not being a lottery team. There just didn't seem, at least I thought, to be enough talent on the team to hope for a successful season. Boy, was I wrong. They developed a new defensive system under Trotz and went toe-to-toe for the Metropolitan Division title all season long. Second in the Metropolitan Division, 103 points, clinching the playoffs for the fourth time since 2008. Home ice advantage for the first time since '87. They went from allowing the most goals in the NHL last season, 293, to the least the very next season. Something that hasn't been accomplished in 100 years, since the Ottawa Senators in 1918. When the Islanders scored at least 3 goals, they were 38-2-2 during the regular season. Lechner and Greiss combined for at least amount of goals in the NHL. 2 of the top 3 save percentages among goalies who played over 40 games. Greiss 9.27. Lechner 9.30. If both of them can continue to roll, the Islanders are in a great position, to just win this series against Pittsburgh. They could do that and also make a deep run at the Stanley Cup. Could the offense score enough to keep pace with the star power of the Penguins? If a guy like Lechner and Greiss gets solved, it could mean the beginning of the end for the Islanders as far as a remarkable season. During down the stretch in the regular season, the Islanders' offense was not getting the job done. They were shut down 3 times in the final 10 games. The new face of the franchise, Barzal, I think, of the Islanders. But his goal scoring dried up late in the season. Scored just 1 goal in the final 24 games of the regular season. For the Islanders to get past Pittsburgh, they will need everybody, especially the top players like Barzal, to be firing on all cylinders. Obvious statement. Another year, another playoff appearance for the Pittsburgh Penguins. 13th consecutive season that the Penguins will appear in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The longest such streak in the league, with the next closest streak being 5 consecutive seasons. Overcame a lot of consistency issues through the season. Finished 3rd in the Metropolitan Division with 100 points. Making their 4th consecutive season with 100 or more points. Finished 6th in the league in goal scoring, and it's not hard to imagine why. You have a new core of Malkin, Kessel, Letang, Crosby, all premier players at their position once again this season. You add Jake there into the mix, who eclipsed 40 goals and 70 points for the first time in his career. And the Penguins' top six becomes exceptionally lethal. Matt Murray had a rough start to the season, found his groove after returning from injury. Penguins have the exact opposite problem as the Islanders. Can their inconsistent defense hold back the Islanders? Can they do that enough to allow their offense to take control of the series? The Jack Johnson signing has been about as much of a nightmare as it could expect it to be. And then the Penguins went out and acquired Eric G there, who, alongside him, whose possession numbers mark him as allegedly one of the worst players in the league. So, once you look past the Penguins' core, no player scored more than 40 points over the season. Patrick Hornquist and Ryan Rust eclipsed 30 points. The Penguins' core is more than capable of carrying the series, but they will need their depth scoring to show up in order to go far. I think this is going to be Penguins over the Islanders in 6 games. The Islanders are going to play absolutely with a chip on their shoulders in this series, and the lockdown style will give the Penguins fits on several occasions. But the Penguins' star power might be a bit too much for the Islanders to provide an answer to. The Penguins have been masters at capitalizing on their chances over the years, no matter how few chances they get. If the Islanders can't come up with answers on offense, their goaltending is their only hope. But Murray might be able to match that every step of the way. Penguins over the Islanders. Sorry, Islander fans. In 6. Hope all is well.